What's going on, guys? Alex here with 814 EDC, and today I'm ready to do my full review on the Kubey Knives Blackout. So this is was in via the Lefty passaround group. It was a duo from Kubey. So I have the Blackout here, and then if you guys caught yesterday's video, I did my full review on the Kubey Neo. Really enjoyed both of these knives coming in, but the Blackout was the real winner for me. I thoroughly enjoyed the Blackout so much I had a very hardcore TV just started playing. I thought I muted it. But I had a very hardcore kind of honeymoon period with this knife when I first got it in. It really blew me away, and I was like, not too many knives. You know, I don't get too many knives in that I'm immediately like, I need to go buy this. And that's how I was with the Blackout. I mean, for the first couple of days, I fidgeted with it, I carried it, I flicked it literally nonstop. It has, you know, it really blew me away. And still to this day, you know, after a couple weeks of having it in, I still really want to buy one. I'm holding off right now just because I have some other stuff coming up that I want to buy in the future, and just trying to be a little bit, you know, more smart about my knife purchases. But this is a damn good Kubey, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's my favorite Kubey I've handled so far. You know, and it's really, to me, the best of the premium, you know, wave of Kubeys that I've handled. I've had the Blackout, I've had the Neo, I've had the Very Gero, and I've had the Interflow, I think. I believe it's those four that I've checked out, and they've all been fantastic, but the Blackout is just the real winner for me. So without further ado, we're gonna jump right into the review real quick. You know, give you my full thoughts and my opinions, and we'll get down to the categories and, you know, see where this knife ends up on my rating scale. But jumping right into materials real quick. Excuse me, I get some water in there. So there are three variations of this knife. This one specifically we'll talk about for a second. So you have this really nice sort of dark stone wash, kind of a battle wash, an acid wash. I really like this finish. You have a frame lock right there, as you guys can see. You have a milled titanium pot clip that is pretty deep carry. I like, you know, it goes pretty far into the pocket. I'd say you have about that much sticking up out of there. Not bad whatsoever. You have a lanyard hole. You have some interesting milling on the side over here. You have the Kubey logo. Nice backspacer. You have a kind of harpoon spear point style blade. You have a nice ramp up here, hole and thumb stud for deployment. You guys can see Kubey right there. And then it is M390 on the blade. You guys can see it has sort of a, you know, different finishes on the flats and the, you know, bevels of the blade. As for internal milling, there are 3 big pockets on the show scale side. Looks like 2 pockets on the frame lock side. The frame lock, I love that they did like this little milling in there for lock bar relief out of the cutout. Works really good. Yeah, just, I mean, simple knife, but to me, I love, you know, these scales and how it's more of kind of like how Microtech does like their battle worn finishes. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting here. Before I jump into the other 2 variations, let's see what the specs are on this knife. So overall length from tip to butt, we are going 7.48 inches. You have a blade length of 3.15, so right in that sweet spot for me. Blade thickness of 0.15. They're calling it a drop point, but I see more of kind of a spear point with a little bit of a, I guess not really a harpoon necessarily, but just a nice ramp up here. It's a compound grind because you have the, you know, down here with this swedge building up top. The designer is Dmitry Osarenko, and that's his designer logo right there. Not super familiar with him, and it comes in weighing at 3.78 ounces. And honestly, it's a great carry knife. You know, it has that good amount of weight that feels like substantial in your hand, and I really like that about it. Now for the other 2 variations that are currently available with this knife, you have a fully blacked out blade, blacked out titanium, and then like gold accents on the pivot and the thumb stud and all the screws. And then you have a plain tie with a satin blade and then blue accents on all the, you know, hardware. For some reason, you know, this knife is, I know why, but it's more expensive on Kubey's website and it's much cheaper on White Mountain Knives. However, they are all currently out of stock, but I will still leave a link below to White Mountain Knives because they come back in stock. You guys can, you know, get the cheaper price there. Plus, you can use another code on it, which we'll talk about in a minute. But we got to get this review rolling a little bit better. Materials, M390, really, really nice dark stone-washed titanium scales, frame lock, you know, milled clip, great, you know, thumb stud and hole sort of combination. We're going to go 5 out of 5 on the materials per usual. Next up is aesthetic. Now, I'm not gonna lie, it did take me a little bit of time to, I always liked the way this knife looked, but it really took me a little bit of time to love how it looks. I've really grown to love this blade shape. It's just very, very, you know, straightforward. Again, I love the dark stonewash done on the scales. Really, really stands out to me. And it just, you know, it's almost like a nice dark stonewash on a blade where you can just, you know, it just wants to go to work almost. You know, the milled clip looks really good, nice frame lock. It just has really good lines. I mean, it's, again, kind of a no frills design. You have a straight line, tapers off, comes down to a point right here, and then a straight line. So really, it has grown on me quite a bit. And again, this is my top Kubey I think I've ever handled so far. So it's going to be pretty highly rated. So I'm going to go 5 out of 5 on the aesthetic. I think before it was maybe between a 4 and a 4.5, but it has really grown into, you know, a deserving 5 in my opinion. Next up is action. I'm just going to write it down right now, 5 out of 5. The D10 on this is tuned perfectly. It's hard to, you know, kind of hear from this area or, you know, through the camera. But you can thumb flick this, you can middle finger flick it, you can slow roll it, you can pointer finger flick it, both with the hole and the stud. You can do all of these flicks with the hole in the stud, which is nice. Kind of gives you like that, not really customizable, but like options of where, you know, depending on how big your hands are you going to drop below it with the hole and fire it out that way? Are you going to land right on the stud and fire it out that way? Same thing with the thumb flick. You can land on the stud or down here on the hole. And then same for the slow roll. You can do both. So I've really grown to like, you know, quite a bit of knives with, you know, both a combination of the thumb stud and the thumb hole. It works really well. And I really like, you know, when knives incorporate that into their designs. Of course, we have the frame locks. You do want to be kind of off the lock bar. Don't put too much pressure. But, I mean, just a great snappy D10. I have, you know, again, fidgeted with this thing so much. This thing has been flicked. Probably, I would say this is up there. Maybe a top 3 knife of all time when it comes to, you know, loaner knives and reviewer knives. I mean, I've taken this thing in the car with me, you know, if I'm just running like an errand to Walmart. You know, sometimes, you know, I typically carry a knife in my gym shorts, but sometimes I don't if I have other stuff, you know, my wallet and all that crap on me with gym shorts. So I just, you know, have it in the car, you know, for car cutting and things like that. And it's a really good fun. It's a really good knife to fidget with. It's just, I mean, you guys can see that drop to your nail, a few micro shakes, drops to your nail, one shake. I mean, and it's locked up so tight, no blade play whatsoever. Just buttery smooth. I'm sure this has been taken apart and tuned, but if it hasn't and it's directly from the factory this way, I mean, I have to give Kubey some applause because, again, just a very, very fun knife to continually sit here and just play with. So action is a 5 out of 5. Next up is acoustics. I mean, this is probably where it's going to fall a little bit short for me when we're coming, you know, talking about perfect categories. I mean, it's very good. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's still very satisfying to do. But to me, it just sounds like any other titanium frame lock. And you even have quite a bit of milling in there for sounds to kind of bounce around and reverberate. But, you know, and that's where I've touched on it before quite a bit. You know, still a 4.5 in the acoustics category for me is very, very good. You know, that's still a very solid knife. It takes a lot to be a perfect 5 out of 5. I mean, you do get a nice resounding snap, snap, thwack, whatever you want to call it. I think I'm gonna go 4.5. I think it's more deserving of a 4.5 than a 4. And I think maybe because I like this knife so much, that might sway me a little bit, but I think that's a fair score when it comes to acoustics. Next up is Ergos. Very, very comfortable knife, as you guys could probably already tell with the, you know, design aesthetic of this knife. Very simple handle, and I can get all 4 fingers on there very, very easily, very comfortably. You know, it's not a huge knife, just over, you know, a 3.15 inch blade, but it's very, very comfortable. The stonewash has kind of a nice, you know, obviously stonewash tumbled finish to it. You know, this adds a little bit of texture, I guess, with the milling right there, but not too much. But overall, it's just very, very comfortable. My thumb lands right there on that ramp with some jimping. You know, great purchase and a saber grip. You can either land on the jimping or, you know, if you want to go out here on the middle of the blade, if you're doing push cuts, very, very comfortable as well. Just all around, it's a very just easy knife to hold. It's a great, you know, user feeling knife. You guys know I'm a big fan of, you know, thumb ramps. It just gives you a really good purchase and allows for, you know, for if you're doing any penetration cuts or just any cutting in general, you just get a really good purchase and you have a lot of control through there. And again, if you want to choke up and utilize your thumb power even more for push cuts, very, very comfortable. You can do an easy pinch grip with this knife. You guys know I'm a big fan of the pinch grips for opening Amazon packages, letters, things like that. Not, you know, the best blade shape for it, but you can definitely get in there and, you know, cut through things. The mill clip does not pose any problems whatsoever. Very, very comfortable. You guys can see the end of it is outside of my palm when I'm in, you know, my typical grip. So that's not causing any hot spots. I don't know. It feels like the titanium is a little bit contoured. But there's no sharp edges, nothing like that anywhere. So, I mean, for ergonomics, you know, I think it's a very, very comfortable knife. So we're going to get back in the 5s here. 5 out of 5 on the Ergos. Next up is Carry. Comes in weighing 3.78 ounces. And again, it's that weight that feels, you know, you can't feel it in your pocket, but when you're holding it, it doesn't feel heavy, but it feels like a good substantial knife that's just ready to go to work. And for you, you know, you knife guys out there, you know what I'm talking about. It's just, it's not a featherweight, but it's not a heavyweight. It's just kind of, it's a middleweight, I guess. It's that good, you know, resounding weight that's just like, man, this thing feels good. Feels like it can handle anything that I throw at it. So therefore, you know, it carries better than the weight suggests, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Again, that milled clip goes pretty deep. I'd say you have about that much taken up out of your pocket. Not a big deal whatsoever. Clip looks good on the outside of the pocket, so not that big of a deal. Now you have no flipper tab, no jimping, anything like that to possibly, you know, catch on your hand or your finger as you're pulling your hand up out of your pocket if you went, you know, down below to get something. So that's a nice thing not to have to worry about. And again, it's not a very big knife. I mean, this is kind of my test of how big the knife is, but I can hide a lot of it in my fist, and it really is not, you know, a bad size. It's a great size really to carry. Didn't carry it in any jeans or anything like that, but I did carry it in gym shorts a few times, and typically I carried it in khakis or my bird dogs, which I have like kind of a side like 3 o'clock pocket it sits down in. But it just, I mean, carries very, very well. And you know, as far as, you know, it being towards the 4 mark when it comes to ounces. Sorry guys, my wife just walked in a little bit earlier than expected for Mark, so it's kind of startled me real quick. So as I was saying, yeah, it carries well. Now the dogs are all riled up. We're watching my in-laws' dogs, so we got my dog and the in-laws' dog, so it's been a little crazy the last 24 hours, getting used to, you know, having a lot of energy in the house. But as far as carry goes, cannot complain. We're gonna get back in the 5s. And that brings me to my last category of price point / what I recommend this knife / value. Now, like I said, on Kubey's website, these things go for the full tie, and the satin goes for $250 on Kubey's website. On White Mountain Knives, it goes for $200, and this version, as well as the blacked out version, go for I think $220, $225 on Kubey's website. And on White Mountain Knives, it goes for $176, which I think right at that price, that is a very good value for, you know, M390, milled clip, beautiful titanium, great action, great ergos, all those different things. Now, if it comes back in stock and you can use someone's code like Lefty10, you're able to get 10% off, get that down to like $150. And I think that that is a fantastic value. I really was surprised when I saw the price point on these. I was expecting this to be like, you know, besides Kubey's website, I was expecting it to be like 200 plus on White Mountain website, White Mountain Knives website, excuse me. But it's not. So I think for price point value, you know, I can absolutely recommend this knife. Again, this is my favorite Kubey ever done so far. So I have really, really enjoyed this. And we're going to give that a 5 as well, because I really do think that, you know, even at $176 for M390, titanium, all the good things that I just listed, that's a really good value. And if you guys are a fan of the design, get this knife. You're really going to enjoy it. And I could really see, you know, myself adding this back to the collection sometime, because I am really going to miss this knife once it's shipped out to the next person. So, you know, that's how much I've enjoyed having it in. So I said so like 6 times in the last 30 seconds, but we're going to, I don't even have to count it up. It was 5s in every category besides the 4.5. So that's bringing this in at a 34.5, which is almost perfect. It's landing it in the fantastic category, which I think is very fair, guys. I mean, it's literally almost a perfect knife. And again, my favorite Kubey. So leave a comment down below. Did any of you guys pick up the new Blackout from Kubey? If you did, do you love it? Do you hate it? As always, I always love to hear what you guys have to say, but I'm going to wrap this up now. So thank you guys again so much for watching. I greatly appreciate each and every single one of you guys. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your morning, evening, day, night, whenever you're watching this. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.